Imagine it's a Saturday morning in 1952. You're driving your brand new Buick through a sun-drenched American suburb. You see a sign in front of a beautiful, white-painted house with a large backyard and a brick chimney. The price? $5,400. Today, that same amount of money might get you a high-end laptop or a few months of rent in a cramped city apartment. But in the 1950s, it bought you a piece of the American dream. It bought you stability, dignity, and a place to call home forever. In this video, we are opening the Wealth Vault to reveal 25 incredible properties that our grandparents bought for what we now consider pocket change. We aren't just looking at cheap houses, we are looking at a lost world where a single working-class salary could build an empire. From the legendary suburban revolutions to hidden desert oases, wait until you see number 7, a house that changed history, and our number 1 pick, which will show you exactly how much wealth we've lost to the hands of time. Welcome to the era where your grandfather's dollar was a titan. Let's start the countdown. Number 25, the Cape Cod Starter Home, $6,250. The story: we begin our journey in the heart of the Midwest. In 1952, the Cape Cod was the ultimate symbol of the middle class. For exactly $6,250, you got a solid 2-bedroom home with an expandable attic and a full basement. The wealth math: in 1952, a factory worker earned about $3,500 a year. This entire house cost less than 2 years of total income. Today, with average home prices near $400,000, a worker would need to save every penny for nearly 8 years to achieve the same thing. Number 24, the California Sun Bungalow, $8,900. The story: long before Los Angeles became a concrete jungle of mansions, it was a paradise of affordable bungalows. In 1952, a brand new, 2-bedroom bungalow in a quiet LA suburb sold for $8,900. The economic secret: back then, the GI Bill helped millions secure low-interest loans. For $8,900, you weren't just buying a roof, you were buying the California lifestyle, with enough money left over for a family car and a surfboard. Today, that same 70-year-old house is likely worth $1.1 million. Number 23, the Heartland Farmhouse, $4,500. The story: in the rural beauty of the American heartland, a sturdy farmhouse with 3 to 5 acres of fertile land cost just $4,500. The work-hour comparison: in 1952, it took roughly 3,000 hours of labor to own this entire property. Today, 3,000 hours of work might clear you $50,000. Try finding 5 acres and a functional house anywhere in America for $50,000 today. It simply doesn't exist. Number 22, the post-war Levittown Revolution, $7,990. The story: Levittown was the gold standard for young families. For $7,990, you walked into a modern masterpiece with a built-in General Electric kitchen and a manicured lawn. The lifestyle story: for veterans, the down payment was often $0. Monthly mortgages were roughly $58, cheaper than renting a tiny apartment in the city. Back then, the system was designed to turn workers into owners and build generational wealth. Number 21, the Florida Tropical Oasis, $9,400. The story: in the early 50s, a spacious, ranch-style home in a growing Miami suburb was priced at just $9,400. The modern pain point: this wealth freedom allowed families to pay off their homes in 10 to 15 years, leaving money for boats and university tuition. Today, Florida has become a playground for the ultra-wealthy, but in 1952, it was the humble playground of the American mailman. Number 20, the Desert Gem in Arizona, $5,800. The story: in 1952, you could pick up a charming ranch home with a red tile roof on the outskirts of Phoenix for just $5,800. Before air conditioning became standard, the desert was an affordable frontier. The work-hour comparison: at an average wage of $1.60 an hour, it took 3,600 hours of work to own this home and the land. Today, those same hours at a standard salary earn you about $65,000, a price that wouldn't even buy a vacant lot in Phoenix today. A moment of reflection: the Great Deception. Let's pause for a moment. Modern economists say, people made less money back then. But that is the Great Deception. While wages were lower, the purchasing power was a giant. A man in 1952 could secure a future for a family of 6 on a single income. Today, we have 2-income households and side hustles, yet we are further from the American dream than ever. The vault shows us the loss of financial dignity. Number 19, the Seattle waterfront cottage, $10,500. The story: before it was a tech hub, Seattle was an affordable shipping town. For $10,500, you could own a cozy cottage with a view of the Puget Sound. The wealth math: this house cost roughly 2.7 times a family's yearly earnings. Today, Seattle's median price has skyrocketed to over $850,000. Back then, you didn't need to be a software engineer to live by the water, you just needed a steady job at the local docks. Number 18, the Texas ranch-style expansion, $7,200. The story: in the suburbs of Dallas, $7,200 bought you a sprawling brick home on a massive quarter-acre lot. This was the ultimate symbol of Texas growth. The economic secret: efficient manufacturing kept prices low. For $7,200, you got hardwood floors and a stone fireplace. There was no artificial scarcity from zoning laws. If a man wanted to build a home for his family, the land was there, and the price was fair. Number 17, the New England Colonial, $11,000. The story: in historic Massachusetts, a stately 2-story, 4-bedroom colonial was priced at $11,000. These were not disposable houses, they were built with solid oak and local stone to last 200 years. The work-hour comparison: it took 5,500 hours of skilled labor to own this estate. Today, a 4-bedroom colonial in a good New England district costs nearly $900,000. We now pay 10 times more for houses built with half the quality. Number 16, the suburban dream in Atlanta, $8,200. The story: in the outskirts of Atlanta, a brand new 3-bedroom brick ranch sold for exactly $8,200. It was famous for its large screened-in porches and a sense of tight-knit community. The wealth math: the monthly mortgage was about $45, only 15% of a blue-collar worker's take-home pay. This left families with massive, disposable income to save and invest. Today, most Americans spend 50% of their income just to keep a roof over their heads. Number 15, the Chicago Bungalow Belt, $12,500. The story: Chicago's Bungalow Belt was the backbone of the working class. In 1952, a sturdy yellow brick bungalow with a full basement in Portage Park cost $12,500. The economic secret: these homes were built like fortresses with thick brick and copper piping. Because the dollar was pegged to gold, material costs stayed flat. This stability allowed builders to pass savings to the buyer, making high quality affordable for the average bus driver or steel mill worker. Number 14, the Colorado Mountain View Ranch, $6,800. The story: long before Denver was a tech hub, $6,800 bought you a brand new 2-bedroom ranch with a scenic mountain view. The work-hour comparison: in 1952, it took 9,000 hours of minimum wage work to own this house outright. Today, to buy an average home in Denver at minimum wage, you would need to work over 82,000 hours. That is nearly 10 times the labor required by your grandfather. Pattern break, the era of gold and steel. Have you noticed a recurring theme? In 1952, the United States produced half of the world's goods. Every nail and sink was made by an American worker who was paid enough to buy the very house he was building. The dollar wasn't just paper, it was a promise backed by gold. We shouldn't just feel nostalgia, we should feel a sense of loss for an economic system that prioritized the home over the bank. Number 13, the mid-century modern Eichler home, $13,500. The story: Joseph Eichler revolutionized Northern California with modernist homes featuring glass walls and open atriums. In 1952, you could move into one for just $13,500. The wealth math: these were designed to bring high-end architecture to the middle class through mass production. Today, an original Eichler in Silicon Valley is $1 million collector's item. Back then, it only required a steady job as a mid-level manager to live in a work of art. Number 12, the sturdy Detroit brick Tudor, $11,200. The story: in 1952, Detroit was the Paris of the West. A beautiful, brick-faced Tudor-style home with arched doorways cost $11,200. The lifestyle story: a worker at a Ford or GM plant earned enough to pay off this estate in less than 10 years. The quality was immense, heavy oak trim and leaded glass. Today, we spend more on a kitchen remodel than our grandparents spent on an entire Tudor home built to last for centuries. Number 11, the Pacific Northwest Lumber King home, $7,500. The story: in the early 50s, Oregon was a timber powerhouse. Because wood was local and plentiful, a massive, high-quality timber frame home cost just $7,500. The work-hour comparison: a mill worker needed about 4,200 hours of work to own this home. Today, in cities like Portland, it takes 22,000 hours for a similar house. That's 10 years of your life compared to just 2 years for your grandfather. Number 10, the classic American Saltbox in New Jersey, $9,800. The story: in 1952, New Jersey was the ultimate commuter's paradise. For $9,800, you could buy a brand new Saltbox home, famous for its massive interior space and pitched roof. The wealth math: a school teacher earning $3,600 a year could own this home for just 2.7 times their annual salary. Today, a teacher in the same area faces prices nearly 9 times their salary. Back then, if you served the community, you could actually afford to live in it. Number 9, the post-war prefab in Ohio, $6,500. The story: American ingenuity met the housing shortage with high-quality steel-framed homes. In Ohio, a permanent, fireproof, lustron home cost just $6,500. The economic secret: these were built on assembly lines, just like cars. They required zero painting and almost no maintenance. While we today struggle with affordable, tiny houses that cost $200,000, our grandparents had a high-tech, permanent solution for the price of a few years of labor. Number 8, the sunny San Diego Ranch, $11,000. The story: before it became one of the most expensive cities on earth, San Diego was a sleepy Navy town. A sprawling ranch home overlooking the valley was priced at $11,000. The work-hour comparison: a dock worker needed about 6,100 hours of work to own this home. Today, that same house requires roughly 38,000 hours of labor, a staggering 600% increase in the amount of human life required to buy the same piece of dirt. Pattern break: the hidden thief. Have you ever wondered where that value went? Did the house get 10 times better? No. In many cases, the 1950s house was built with better wood and thicker brick. The difference is the thief in the pocket. Inflation and the decoupling of the dollar from gold acted like a silent tax. Your grandfather worked for hard money that held its value. We work for paper that melts away. Number 7. The iconic Levittown and the Veteran's Dream, $6,990. The story: this house built the American middle class. In 1952, a brand new home in Levittown, the suburban utopia, cost exactly $6,990. The economic secret: the GI Bill meant veterans could walk into these homes with zero down payment and a $60 monthly mortgage. It was a social revolution that incentivized ownership. Today, these same homes sell for $500,000, turning the dream of ownership into a cycle of perpetual renting. Number 6. The Southern California Cliffside Ranch, $12,000. The story: in 1952, the coastal cliffs of Orange County were still open. A custom-built ranch with a glimpse of the blue Pacific cost just $12,000. The lifestyle story: this was the peak of indoor-outdoor living, with sliding glass doors and space for a pool. Today, a view like this requires a seven-figure bank account. In 1952, that view belonged to the plumber, the electrician, and the grocery store manager. Number 5. The stately Midwest Manor, $14,500. The story: in 1952, $14,500 bought you a manor in cities like Indianapolis. This was a 4-bedroom brick estate on a half-acre lot. The work-hour comparison: at a professional wage of $3 an hour, it took only 4,800 hours of work to own this entire estate. Today, a similar luxury home costs at least $750,000, requiring 3 times the labor effort. This price tag is a reminder that even the luxury of the 1950s was more accessible than basic housing today. Pattern break: the illusion of progress. We often hear that we live in the most advanced age in history. We have the internet and AI. But does it feel like progress when a young couple in 1952 could own a home in 2 years, while a couple today struggles for 20? Progress is measured by quality of life. We have traded our financial freedom for digital convenience. Number 4. The budget suburban ranch, $5,200. The story: across states like Ohio and Georgia, a brand new 2-bedroom ranch was available for exactly $5,200. The wealth math: this house cost only 20 months of a typical clerk's total salary. Today, the average worker sacrifices 100 to 120 months of their income for a mortgage. This $5,200 home is proof that in the 1950s, a roof over your head was a basic right for every honest worker, not a luxury. Number 3. The rural lumber cabin with land, $3,900. The story: in the scenic foothills of Washington, you could buy a handcrafted timber cabin on 2 acres of private land for just $3,900. The economic secret: for $3,900, you were buying freedom. You could grow your own food and live with total independence. Today, that same cabin and land would be listed for over $500,000. Peace, quiet, and nature weren't reserved for the elite back then, they belonged to anyone with a dream. Number 2. The mobile home revolution, $2,800. The story: a top-of-the-line, 30-foot trailer equipped with modern mid-century furniture cost just $2,800. The work-hour comparison: a worker earning $1 an hour had to work only 2,800 hours to own this home outright. Today, a similar setup requires double the work for half the freedom. For $2,800, a young couple could start their married life without a penny of debt. Number 1. The final frontier homestead, $1,500 to $2,500. The story: In parts of the American West, the government encouraged homesteading. For a price between $1,500 and $2,500, you could secure a house and several acres of raw land. The ultimate wealth lesson: our grandparents bought these with grit. $1,500 is the price of a smartphone today, but in 1952, it was the down payment on a family's entire future. The person who bought that plot laid the foundation for a bloodline of millionaires. As we close the vault on the 1950s, one question continues to echo in our hearts and minds: where did the wealth go? We saw $5,000 houses, $2,000 properties, and land that cost less than an ordinary modern laptop. It wasn't just a time of cheaper things, it was an era of dignity, peace, and true prosperity. Our grandfathers didn't have the internet, social media, or luxury cars, but they had something that is incredibly rare today: ownership. Their own home, their own land, and a secure future. Today, when you look at your paycheck, your bills, and the rising cost of living, take a moment to ask yourself: are we really progressing, or are we simply paying more for less? If this video touched your heart, surprised you, or reminded you of a better time, make sure to hit that like button. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you also believe the 1950s were financially better times? And don't forget to share this video with your friends, family, and anyone who remembers the golden days of the past. For more eye-opening, valuable, and fascinating stories like this, subscribe to our channel, because here, we don't just show history, we reveal the mirror of reality. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, protect your family's future, just like people did back in 1952.